All right, guys, joining us on the podcast, we have Rams edge defender Landis Durham. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Shoot's going great, man. Flying out there on Monday. We just can't wait to get out there and get started with everything. I've been looking forward to it for a while. Glad I got a home there in LA with you guys, and I'm happy you guys had me on the show, man. So let's do this thing.
Yeah, of course. We're so excited to talk to you. And just to start it off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
Wow. I actually started playing football in the third grade. I would watch my brother's games. He played, he started before I did, and I'd go to his Pee Wee games. And, I always knew I wanted to play. I just never knew when I was going to start. So, we skipped over flag football and just kind of got right into it, full pads and everything. And, been playing, getting the NFL this whole time. And, it's the time has come. So it's paid off, and I'm looking to keep on working and excelling. So, I'm glad you guys got me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're very excited to have you on. I just want to ask you, we kind of started off with that question, and we always start off with this question. Just want to know, growing up, did you have a favorite player? And if so, who was it?
Wow. I don't think I could really narrow it down to one player. But, I've looked at a lot of stories, a lot of old stories, some newer stories. I like Deacon Jones, Barry Sanders. There's really a handful of guys, honestly. It's kind of hard as you ask me for one, but, I paid attention to a lot. I watched a lot of documentaries. I read up on a lot of guys, and, it's the game of football, I like to say, is, it's good for life lessons and stuff. So, and it's crazy just looking at, all the guys and what they've gone through, some Hall of Famers, some guys that just role players, and, you try and base yourself off of what they learned and what they have to go through and stuff to get to where they are. And, you end up liking a lot of guys for, hearing the stories. So, I got a handful of guys I appreciate. So, couldn't really give you one.
Yeah, definitely. All the guys that you did mention were absolutely phenomenal players. And, that is kind of a tough question because I'm sure that there's many players that you admired and looked up to. But when it came time for you to play in college, you played at Texas A&M. Did you have a favorite memory from your time playing there?
Wow. My favorite memory at A&M probably would be after my junior year. We played, or during my junior year, we played Arkansas. And, I didn't really play at all my freshman and sophomore year, and kind of saw the field my junior year due to injury, after the first game of the season. So, I kind of there and didn't let go of the spot. And, it was my first post-game interview after Arkansas. And, they're just asking questions, and my mom, my brother, I had some family friends who were outside the window. Everybody could look in there, and, I gave them a shout out, and they all screamed and everything. And, it was a good thing, for myself and for my family, for me to be able to perform in front of them like that, like the way I did. And I think I had 2 sacks that game or something, but it was just really fun. And I'm very fond of that memory because I was happy. My family was happy. My friends were happy. And it was just a great time for everybody.
Yeah, of course. You got to play in the SEC. You played against top-notch competition. All is definitely well there. How would you describe your overall experience playing at Texas A&M?
I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. A lot of guys go to college ball, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the recruiting process is it could lead you in there pretty blindly. But I went in and I didn't necessarily get my way, I guess. But who does get their way as a freshman? So, I had to learn a lot. I had to learn, on the field and off the field. And I grew, I had to grow mentally big time. I always kind of consider myself kind of patient, but, you out there going to practice and whatnot 5 days out of the week to go watch a game on Saturday. That's tough on somebody's spirit, especially for somebody who's there to play football and, why not watch football. So, like I said, that was pretty much my first 2 seasons there. And and I appreciate that because it was hard, and coaches molded me into the person I am today and put me through some stuff. But at the end of the day, I appreciate everything I went through. I appreciate everything the coaches have done for me, and I mean it was a great experience for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. It certainly sounds like it, and you were certainly a fun player to watch in college as well. It's for sure. But yeah, no problem. And your college career ends, and then the pre-draft process begins. Just walk us through a little bit about what that was like. And did you go anywhere to train? I know some people travel to train before the draft, or some people stay home. So just what was the process like for you?
Well, I'd actually came back home pretty much. My mom stays in Dallas, and I was training up north of that. She stays in South Dallas, and I was training north of Dallas in Frisco at this Exos facility. But one thing that was pretty crazy to me. So after I had the verbal agreement of who my agent was going to be, we played our bowl game, and we won, and it was a great feeling. And he he texted me talking about see you Monday, Tuesday, whatever the day. It was a couple of days right after the bowl game, and we were still out there. Like, I was still in my pads, looking at my phone in the locker room, and he's talking about great win, and I see you in a couple of days, and we get this thing rolling. So I mean, it pretty much started. I hadn't even got out of my college jersey yet, and the whole process had started, and it was big time, and it was just something to look forward to, and something that I knew was going to be a whole nother process. But I feel like I attacked it pretty well, and I had a good time, doing so.
Yeah, without a doubt, just going through that whole pre-draft process, obviously it's definitely something else, and everyone has their own, method of doing it. It always seems to be like,
right.
There's those different, centers like the Exo Center and all of that I think they're really, reaping the rewards with that because they get a lot of clients and whatnot. And they've really, picked up steam over the years. But, with that being said, what would you say, doing all this stuff in the off season, what would you say you most improved on as far as your game in the off season heading into the draft process?
Wow. Speed, I feel like. Speed, strength. We did a lot of stuff at Exos, man. It was we worked on speed and strength, and then also control, and that was one of the main things that helped my speed, improve. Brent Calloway was our strength and speed coach, and so he was giving us all our pointers that we needed to hit, while running, but at the same time, instead of like putting your head down, running as hard as you can, make sure you run smooth. That's how you're going to be fast. Guys really straining hard and trying to run as fast as they can. So that's not the way to go. Just make sure you do all your technique, techniques and stuff, and the rest will carry itself. And that was one thing that it was kind of hard to believe, I guess, at first. But shoot, they're timing us every day, and I feel the difference between reps whenever I'm really straining and reps whenever I'm just just doing all my technique stuff and just making sure I get everything I need to get done, and so the times don't lie. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's a great feeling to see things that you worked for paid off, and I remember back when I was a college athlete, which seems like a long time ago. I guess it was technically only 2 years ago, but I remember just grinding every day, trying to like work on times or work on different things and all that. And, it certainly was rewarding to me to see it all pay off for sure. But you were picked up by the Rams as a UDFA. What was the whole 24, 48-hour period like after the draft ended for you?
Well, I got picked up. I mean, shoot, I'd say like couple hours after the draft. Was pretty crazy. But I mean, really just watching it, it was kind of going through that whole 2-year process all over again. I felt like, the first 2 years I had at A&M, feeling like I was overlooked or underappreciated or whatever, whatever the case may be. And, and I knew my stock wasn't all that high. And I just knew one thing is, that wherever I do land, that all I'm looking for is an opportunity, and I'm gonna make the most of it, wherever I am. So, of course, watching all 7 rounds of the draft go was kind of tough. I think I was at a friend's house, for the last day of the draft. I wasn't even at home, and so it was kind of tough on the way back home. Me and him are sitting in the car, we're talking about it and everything, and my agent calls me, tells me straight up, hey, I got this deal with the Rams. I think this is where we should go, and we got a pretty good pretty good fit for you out there, position wise. And I told him, I was like, hey man, if that's the best we got, then we're going, period. Like I said, I'm just looking for opportunity, and it was kind of challenging at first, just like I said, watching those rounds go by. But as soon as I found the home, everything just, all those previous emotions and feelings went out the window, and it's back to football all over again. And can't wait to be a part of the LA Rams, man. So it's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And it's funny, Landis. I mean, I know you went undrafted, but there were a lot of amazing football players that went undrafted. And Alexis
Right.
and I, we were doing our live draft show. We did all 3 days, and we were just surprised to see the guys that went off the board, earlier, and then the guys that were still on the board. There were guys, I had in like first round, second round, conversation, and they went undrafted. They went in the 6th round, and it was a weird year. I think it was the weirdest draft I've ever seen, where, all the consensus talk and all of that was kind of thrown out the window. People talked about DK Metcalf for like a whole, 2-week stretch, and then he goes at the end of the 2nd round. It was like bizarre. Of course, right. He goes to Seattle too, like of all places. Like, but it was kind of like that. So, I think really it just reinforces the fact that UDFAs make up the majority of the population in the NFL, and right. This is drafts like this I think are why. There were a lot of really good football players such as yourself that I watched the film and I'm like, really? Undrafted? But at the same time, it's almost like you get undrafted and now you have an opportunity to kind of decide where you want to go. We talk about, undrafted rookie free agent grades that, are given out. But what people don't talk about are priority free agent grades. And those are the guys that are like, the next, like if there was an 8th round, they'd go number 1 in that round. And, I think you were definitely a priority free agent when the draft ended. I thought for sure you should have been drafted. I know Alexis did as well. But, the bottom line is you're a priority free agent and, the draft ends. But, I want to just kind of gauge your mindset here because, the draft ends and, I'm sure in one hand you're like, I just want to go to like any team. I just want to, sign with anybody. But on the other hand, you're probably like, right. Well, now I have a time where all that, like this whole time, right? It's all about, impressing teams and everything and teams to draft. But now it's like the ball's kind of in your court to kind of decide where you want to go. And I'm not saying all 32 teams offered you contracts because I don't think that's really how it works. But you probably got a ton of interest and you decided to go to the Rams. So, kind of take me through that, like that whole, just gauging your mindset there. In the moment, did you want to sign immediately or did you kind of want to wait and see how it played out?
Well, I had already known who was interested, during the draft. As a matter of fact, I was getting calls from scouts, talking about I'm trying to get you over here, just be patient with us, and just a whole lot of stuff. And so I talked to my agent about it, and he gave me a pretty long list of teams and stuff. But when looking back at what really mattered, I think we narrowed it down to about 3. I think it was about 3 teams, that would be a good fit for me. And so we had heard, contract from, I think it was the Bears or something, and one from the Chargers. And then, I think those were the 3 that it came down to, the Rams and, the other 2 teams. And so, it was, of course we were looking at everything, and then one of the teams backed out, and I think the other one kind of lowballed, and Then looking at position wise, I think they got kind of outside linebacker deal with the Rams that's on the line, and that's pretty much that's my fit. That's what I'm used to, I guess. But just looking back at it, shoot, like I said, I was really just looking for opportunity, and that was best for me. And looking at it, the Rams were obviously the best that was for me, and so that's what we chose. So I'm here now.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we're certainly glad that you chose the Rams, and can't wait to see you, ball out wearing the Rams uniform. But just curious, had you met with the Rams or talked with them at all pre-draft?
Yeah, we were talking during the draft. One of the assistant coaches was calling me and telling me about the position wise and depth chart and everything, what was going on with the depth chart and personnel and all that. And we were in touch. I honestly didn't think that I had as much interest as I did with the Rams, but they came with the offer and everything, so we were good to go.
Yeah, it's funny because I've talked to guys that have literally been like, I just got drafted by a team that never spoke with me, right? Or I just signed with a team that had no interest throughout the process. And I think really it's such a weird game of chess. It's kind of like, I mean, like Landis, I'm sure the Rams were looking at you like, if he falls, I mean, that's going to be one of our first targets to sign him. So, it's like, it's weird because, you're talking about, this whole idea of going and getting like a diamond in the rough. And as much as they'd love to like be able to talk with you and sit down and get to know you, they kind of have to be a little reserved because all that stuff gets reported back to everybody else. So it's very interesting. I think they did that last year when they drafted John Franklin Myers, who's actually a friend of the show, in the 4th round as Stephen F. Austin. Like, that's a guy that was kind of like their diamond in the rough. No one saw them drafting him. Sometimes it's just how it is, but definitely, some interesting insight there on that whole situation and what it's like to kind of, like you said, one team kind of lowballed you, another was like a perfect fit. So it's really cool to see how that kind of, came to be. But, I want to ask you, what are you most excited about as you officially enter an NFL rookie minicamp, this upcoming week? And then, of course, moving on to, OTAs and the training camp aspect of it. Like, what are you most excited about?
This has probably been the longest period since I started college football where I haven't been suited up, for football. So, I mean, I'm really just looking forward to getting back on the field, doing some drills, with some teammates, and just being back in the environment, man. It's been crazy, just been how many months now? 4 months. This is our 5th month of no football, and I'm looking at the Aggies, A&M Aggies, and, they're going through spring ball. They've already had their spring game. It's just like, dang, this time last year I was out there banging heads with these guys, so it's like I said, it's been a long process, and I've appreciated every bit of it. But I'm ready to get back out there, man. I'm ready to get back on the field. I'm ready to be a football player again instead of just training to be one. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's really exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to wrap it up to our Rams listeners out there, what are they getting in Landis Durham as a player on the field and as a person off of it?
You probably won't hear about me at all off the field. I mean, I'm telling you right now, you won't. I mean, unless you catch me in some pretty nice looking restaurants. But on the field, I mean, I'm putting my head down and I'm working, man. So, I mean, whatever you want me to do, special teams, offense, defense, it don't matter. You want me to clean the bathrooms, I'm there. Like, I'm trying to pour out my heart out for this organization. So, I'm like I said, I've been eager to get there. Been eager to play some football, and I'll be out there Monday. So this weight's finally coming to an end for me, and I couldn't be happier.
Man, it's really it's been a lot of fun getting to have you on here. You're our first interview, post draft, and it's really special, because I mean you haven't even entered mini camp yet, and you took the time to kind of sit down and talk with us, and I mean we really appreciate it, man. We're gonna be fans of you for life. So I mean, it doesn't matter what team you end up on, retiring on or whatever. I mean, we're gonna be fans of you for life. When we say that, we mean it. Hopefully you have a long career with the Rams, because I think they got an absolute steal. We're really looking forward to watching you really earn your keep and really kill it this off season. And excited for preseason as well. It sounds like you'll be playing in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's gonna be great. I've never been to Hawaii before, so that'll be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine the excitement about that, and just, for the upcoming season in general. We're so excited, as Jake mentioned earlier, to watch you, and we'll be supporting you, and, can't wait to see what you do, because we know that you're going to do big things, and we're excited that you're going to do it for our favorite team as well. But thank you so much, Landis, for coming on. It really means a lot that you took the time to come on, and we really enjoyed talking to you.
All right, guys, no problem, man. I enjoyed every second of it.